Hi, I'm Michael Wargo, FMS, and this is another part of the video series for beginners, and we're going to teach you today how to start to advance. I mean, being able to fly and land is thrilling and it's so rewarding, but once you get it, you're going to be in the, hey, you know, what's next? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to flying a little better and beginning some basic aerobatics. So that's what this video is about today, so let's get started. Okay, this video is really going to be about trying to begin some basic, we talked about, making very controlled turns. We talked about practicing maybe figure eights and things like that to get very used to the controls. Making sure you have good habits like power turns, things like that. But now we're going to start trying to do some basic aerobatics. Rule number one, we're going to go up high. 5 minutes. When you're up high, you're safe. So we're going to start up high. And the first thing we're going to try is a loop. And basically all that needs to happen is you need to fly level. And once you're level, we're going to throttle up, pull back on the stick, release the throttle at the top, and let the plane just come around and pull back on the stick a little bit. Now, if you notice, my loop looked pretty good because I was careful. I didn't just really cram that elevator. And I let the loop be fairly large because they look better large. Now, after you've tried it a few times and you get the feeling for it, here's that nice loop again, take the throttle off, come back down. Once you get used to this, I'm going to ask you to try to do it parallel with the runway, because the one way the maneuvers look really nice is when they look deliberate and maybe in show center. So I'm going to fly it parallel to the runway at an altitude that's comfortable. And then I'm going to accelerate, come up over the top, release the throttle, and come down. It's important that you release the throttle at least most of the way on the way down, because if you don't, you're going to come out of it with a lot of speed. And it's not that that's especially with a trainer like this, not the worst thing in the world, but it has the potential to scare you quite a bit. Because everything gets a little faster. The next thing I'd like you to get used to, and this is part of improving. Aerobatics is not just about doing stunts and impressing people. It's about getting confident and competent. So the next thing we're going to want you to do is we're going to want you to practice an aileron roll. And what that involves is we are going to point the aircraft up a little bit and roll the wings and stop when it gets level again. Time remaining 3 minutes. The trick to learning this is make sure the nose is pointing up. It doesn't have to be at 45 degrees, maybe just 10 or 15 degrees, but now it's up. It's much safer because you can see at the end of the roll, the aircraft starts arcing down towards the ground. So if you'll notice, see it's pointing up. After the roll, it's pointing down a little bit, or in this case, level. Once again, you have to make sure that you are applying throttle into these maneuvers, because this is slowing the aircraft down when you do it. Just like the other, as you start getting good at it up high like this, you could stop, do another one in quick succession. That's a good way to get more comfortable. This is helping you get used to orientation and not feeling like you're losing it and like you've lost the airplane, or you don't have control over it. And then of course the next easy step is to try to do the same maneuver parallel with the runway. So I'm going to come down the runway, flying in front of me, and when I get pretty close to show center, I'm going to angle it up, roll it, full aileron, and out, and then fly away. The more you practice this, the more you're going to be comfortable catching the airplane. These maneuvers are really important because they are going to go a long way in helping you prevent your own crashes. Because I'm sure at this point you've all, over-rotated the airplane and had it pointing towards the ground and had to, go low and had to kind of pull out just to save the airplane. This helps you with that orientation, and it helps you to not panic. And that is my biggest tip for all of this, is that because we want you to not panic while you're up there, when you do these maneuvers and you come out, don't panic. Just stop. And if you ever get a little out of control, especially up high, you don't have to panic. In order to avoid crashes, you need to just calm down. So I'm going to put the plane in a very odd position, down and rolling. There we go. Just stop a second. Okay, now I'm going to pull out. Nothing needs to happen fast. You don't have to react quickly to these conditions. Watch, I'll turn the plane over. Now it's in a weird spot. Roll it a little bit. You can just pull out normally. And you can take your time if the plane is up a little higher.
30 seconds.
The very last part of this is going to be trying to complete some aerobatics. You can go to the Aresti for some of the IMAC maneuvers and classic, classic aerobatic maneuvers.
10.
Two of them I think you might want to start with. The first is called an Immelmann, so you're maybe low over the runway or something like that. You pull up,
Timer expired.
come out of it inverted, and then roll to upright. You need a little confidence to do this, but it's going to be a first big, cool maneuver that you're going to do. So instead of turning around with a turn, this is just a way to get back down the runway. We're going to go up, we're going to pull over the top, and then we're going to roll out. And that's the maneuver. It's very, very easy. Okay, we're going to try a maneuver a little more advanced right now. It's called the Cuban 8. But it's something I think teaches quite a bit. It's combining two maneuvers. So what we're going to do first is we're going to make an 8 in the sky. So we are going to pull back, come over the top. On the way down, we're going to roll it halfway. We're going to fly. We're going to come back up the other end, pull over the top. On the way down, we're going to roll it back down again and complete the maneuver. It can be confusing if you're just starting, of course, but in theory it's very easy. So we're just going to pull back on the stick. We don't have to do anything but try and fly straight. And over the top, as you start coming down, we're going to roll over. And that's it. And we're just doing the same thing twice. Over the top. On the way down, we roll over. And even with my biggest planes and jets and things like that, I use that maneuver all the time. Even with my turbine, I'll show you here, a 10 or 11 foot jet. I still do loops as part of my routine. And as you get a little better at this, you'll start to learn to combine maneuvers. And that's what makes everything look cool, and you're doing a bit more of an aerobatic routine. No reason why you can't do a roll, exit the roll, come back up, loop it, and start getting used to the feel of the plane that is not just in level flight. The more you practice, the better you'll get.